All right, this is first game. Ham Kid on Push 7. I watched this once. I'm going to take a look at it again. I'm going to do your video here, and then I'm going to show you mine from the same engagement on my side. All right, so one of the first things is your speed boost. Obviously, sometimes you want to save that for when you're leaving, but the thing is that you're down here for the engagement. So what we want to do is we want to speed boost down there to try to get those eyes on red targets as quick as possible.
Roger.
So currently, the line that you're on, I would be a little bit further outside, still able to get on CCAP, but to where you can get those angles out away from there. At this point, you're out in the open, you're fine. Your RPF is pointing down there. You've got the Cleveland. As soon as I see a cruiser, I'm going to assume he's going to radar. And you're within 9K, he can radar. Now, for whatever reason, he didn't radar, which is great. But most of the time, you want to be starting your turn out, away, back towards the Wichita. Now, at this point, the Baltimore, the Wichita, and the Cherbourg should be much closer. They ought to be almost with the Wichita, but for some reason they're not. Just for whatever reason. So luckily the Cleveland does not pop his radar. I don't know why, but you're doing good. We're going to advance because we got to stay out in front. So at this point, we're pushing the Cleveland away. Wichita's doing a good job with that. Baltimore should be supporting. Cherbourg should be supporting. But the Cherbourg's lost line of sight. He can't hit. We want to make sure that anytime we got those torpedoes, we're calling, even though they're not anything for you. At this point, I would be immediately shooting. Now, you held your fire, which is fine. You're staying dark. I would probably be cutting back the opposite way and throwing smoke, or throwing smoke through here, maybe. At this point, I would be shooting that Hisyang. Now, you wait until he's going away from you, and you got a shot on him, which is fine, but you shoot, and now you're within 8.3 of the Cleveland. He's distracted, but if you smoke and start to avoid, he's going to deploy his radar. At this point right now, you should be making wild turns to the north, as tight as you can turn. Obviously, you're wanting to throw that smoke out there, but the smoke is for you at this point. It's not for your teammates. So you need to be continuing that turn to the north. And here, you take a lot of unnecessary damage by maintaining that line, by trying to get that smoke out there. So what you want to do is you want to keep that turn going about another 45 degrees to where you break line of sight, and then you angle in towards them and away from them, in towards them and away from them, where you're breaking line of sight once that radar goes away. But here, you maintain that about 45 degrees off angle, and you just take a lot of punishment here that is really kind of unnecessary. So at this point, Baltimore's pushing down, Cherbourg pushing down, and at this point, you kind of have a couple of options. One, engaging this guy, but for some reason you're detected because someone has line of sight on you. Congress, Massachusetts, terrible. Somebody's got line of sight. I think it'd be terrible. Yeah, it was. Because as soon as he went down. Now, again here, even though you're dark, they're going to shoot it where you were last seen. So you take some big chunks of damage here. Because when you make your turns, they got to be aggressive. They got to be hard, wild turns one direction or another. So here, we continue our push. And we put a little bit of damage on there, and right here, you were detectable to the Hisyang. And something had you were on fire, and so they had line of sight. So we reverse, which is fine. We're waiting 11 seconds on your deal. At this point, I probably would have backed up into behind, keep that line of smoke, because on this recording, you can see the ring of smoke. The highest point of your vessel, as long as it's behind that ring of smoke, you'll be undetected when you fire, so long as someone else does not have line of sight. Here, I would have made a hard right turn into the B cap, But instead, you kind of hesitate here. And now with the hissing, you throw these torps. I would have thrown a wide spread to the right because more than likely the Cleveland's going to try to make a hard right-hand turn to try to shoot you. Here, you could have kept your speed up. You had avoided the island. You're slow on your repair for the fire. And then if you'll notice, see the line that the Cleveland is taking. He's heading towards the island, and he's angling to his right to get his guns on you. If you throw wide angle, if he turns hard to come back to re-engage, then there's a possibility he'll hit a torp. Or, as he's continuing his kite, your torpedoes will continue to make him move away from your guys. So, a little bit of business there. Part of what kind of screwed you was the slow traverse of your cruisers behind you. And you're just not as fast on your reactions with the destroyer, which is not your fault. It's just you aren't snapping to and reacting as quickly as you need to be able to run the destroyer here, and that's just the nature of the beast. The next clip will be me, and I'll kind of walk you through what I was doing during this engagement here. So as the game starts, I'm looking at ship comps and going, okay, I didn't know the Allende had radar until this game. Cleveland's got radar. Congress has radar. San Diego has hydro. Hsiang has hydro. So, and then I'm thinking about distances and duration. So Cleveland has 9K at like 30 to 45 seconds. Congress has 50 seconds now that I know at 12K. Or maybe it's 9. No, even I don't know. Congress or San Diego has hydro. And so now I'm being called for my side, and I'm thinking about my angle. So I go ahead and set my stuff to full. As soon as everything's up to speed, I'm going to hit my speed boost, and I'm going to start watching the mini-map for RPF. So I'm going to go ahead and set my angle essentially to get fastest time to A, where my boat is going to contact the cap that I want to try to cap as quickly as possible. And then on the way there, I'm deciding if I'm going to try to cap it or not. I'm checking to see who's with me, what cruisers I have. And then I'm looking at data that's being provided. So I'm looking at pings, I'm looking at what you're pinging, I'm looking at what other people are pinging, and I'm looking at that stuff, and I'm kind of thinking, where would I send boats, or where would these boats be if I was going to send them to a location? So I see the RPF is there, making sure that I keep my guns, my torpedoes on there, and I'm just trekking that way currently. So initially what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and get a cap if I can. Both the Hsiang and the Terrible I should spot before they spot me. I think the Hsiang has a little bit worse detectability than I do. Here what I'm doing is I'm trying to, again, get in that island, or get in this cap, but being aware. So I'm spotted there. I'm going to start an angle away, and I'm looking for my torpedoes to deny, but it's 40 seconds, so I don't have time. Allende, Congress, I'm not going to start firing either one of those guys. The Terrible's on the corner of the island. He spotted me. I'm going to go ahead and start putting damage on him and force him back. I'm going to start my smoke and maintain my angle away, and then turn outbound in order to break that line of sight. But now I'm going to turn back into it just in case I lose the detection on the Allende. So right here I can see, and as I keep out in front, but if I need to, I can turn back to the north. I'm still worried about the Terrible. I don't like him being there. I'm checking my smoke to see kind of where it's going to be at, and I'm checking my angles to see kind of where I need to be at. So here I can see him. I'm going to go ahead and throw some rounds at him, and I'm going to turn away because I still have deployment of smoke. So as soon as the smoke pops behind me, I break line of sight again. Again, as I turn north, I luckily break line of sight. I crash and not like a retard, but because of my smoke deployment, I'm not currently seen. So now I'm going, where am I going to throw my torps at? I'm pretty sure I throw them at the corner of the island because the Terrible keeps poking. And if he wants to come out there to throw torpedoes at me or someone else, he's got to expose 3/4 of his boat. And at that point, I may get a lucky hit. So now it's kind of like, what do? I know I need to head out north. So currently I'm in smoke. I'm going to go ahead and get some fire started on Congress if I can. I re-see the Allende for a moment there, and I think about shooting at him. But the Congress has radar range to detect me. So there's radar. I'm starting to already head away because I presume someone's going to pop radar. And I'm going to start my movement away. As I do, I'm going to essentially get my rudder to one side, a full deflection one way, and a full deflection the other way. And then what I'm looking for is to start balancing which boat is shooting at me. So if only the Allende is shooting at me, then my avoiding, my turning, my deflection, and the rudder is only going to be for that boat. The turbo pops back out, re-engage him, and I'm going to be feathering the throttle in and out. I've broken direct eye contact again with these other vessels, so I'm going to continue to use the smoke. Now I screw up here and my smoke goes away, and I was too locked in on trying to keep this Laterable pressed. Currently, I can't really do anything on this cap with the Laterable there because he can gunfight me, and he can call for radar. I see the Congress. I don't notice that the smoke is going out, and I coast pretty much to a stop out here in the open. So I immediately speed up and start engaging the Laterable because he can see me. Everyone else is outside of detectability. So trying to engage this, I'm taking a ton of unnecessary damage because I'm a retard. And I'm going to continue to engage this guy. And luckily he goes down. So now I'm going to point my butt kind of between these two targets, and I'm looking for them to shoot. The San Diego can fire faster, so I'm going to angle back I'm going to point my butt at him, and then I'm going to point my butt back at these guys here. And if I point my butt, I'm providing the smallest target possible for those guys. I'm detected, but I only have, but no one was targeting me. So be aware that someone probably still fire one more salvo, and so now I've broken free. Now it's time to kind of reset and reassess what's going on. Repair's up. I've got smoke. 25 seconds till my recharge, and I've got a booster for speed. But at this point, I cannot push because the Allende's to the outside, San Diego's there, and Congress is there. So I can't really do anything at this moment except kind of just spin my wheels right here. So that guy pops up for a minute, but he's going away. I'm going to go ahead and hit that. I want to try to push back up there to either negate or stop the caps on A, if possible. So Mass has taken some gunfire. I think about moving over there and throwing smoke in front of him, but the odds are when he fires, he's going to be detected anyway. So I start to move kind of back towards A, hoping to recap this point. At that point, Allende gets beat up pretty badly. And I'm looking to see if maybe I can help finish him off. So I shoot a little bit here, and I'm going to draw some gunfire away from everyone else, because everyone sees a DD, they're going to immediately start shooting at me. So I start to turn out. Mass, I go ahead and start an initial turn, predicting shells. I do. Massachusetts fires, and I'm going to go ahead and pop smoke here. What I'm trying to do is draw fire away from my cruisers currently and get them worried about me. They go, the DD's still right here. A lot of times people don't want to push into a destroyer without them doing that stuff. So here I'm going to launch a widespread. This is going to do two things. One, I might get lucky, I might hit him, but I also keep his nose directly onto us. So he's not going to turn full broadside. If he does turn to move away, he should take a torpedo. So one way or another, he's doing what I want him to do. Here, I'm trying to get some fire started, so I'm looking for that superstructure, but I keep checking between salvos to see what everyone else is doing. And I do that usually between every single salvo. So there's radar. I'm going to get my speed boost, fire some more rounds, and the Allende is going to start to push out. Again, I'm going to point my butt to him, and I'm going to get some rounds out there on their superstructure. And I'm looking to try to bounce some of these rounds. So now my torpedo's pretty close, and he has to keep his nose on to me. He can't turn broadside to get all his guns on. I pop my heel. I'm going to put some more rounds out there, and I'm looking to see if I've got shells coming from the Congress. Yeah, that's what I'm looking for. Currently, I'm keeping my butt between the Allende and the Congress, obviously Mass. But the Mass is 30 seconds. Congress is faster than that by a little bit. And the Allende is low, so I want him to go away if at all possible. So now he's gone, no one can see me, but I'm out of gun range for that. So now the deal is that I'm outside of gun range for the Congress, so even if he had line of sight, he can't see me because my gun range only goes out to 12-1, so I'm engaging mass, trying to get fires on him. At this point, our mass is over, kind of moving away, and our other Talon is not here to kind of support. So now what I'm trying to do is I was trying to draw fire away from Talon, but that didn't matter, and he died anyway. Now mass is moving to engage me. As soon as I see the turrets, I'm going to feather the throttle to throw off that shell prediction. And right here you'll see rounds are right in front of me. They shoot AP, and I've broken line of sight, so they can't see me. So now at this point again, now the question is, and I was talking with Ash, is which side of this island is the mass going to go to? If I could hit the mass with some torpedoes, there's a very high chance that Ash could finish him off. So now I think about throwing him right here, but I don't know 100% if he's going to go to the outside or to the inside. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to push the outside to look for him. So now what I want to do is give Ash as much time as possible to set up for his shot. So I'm going to throw these torpedoes on that angle, hoping that he'd come out to engage Ash. Currently, he's happy where he's at. They have the cap, and they're just going to park right there and engage that. So we're going to start a fire. I got to start kind of avoiding for secondaries. And my smoke is back up. Congress goes down. I'm going to go ahead and deploy smoke. And I'm going to just park here and farm this guy. Again, he's engaging Baltimore because Baltimore is the easiest target for him to hit. It's the squishiest, and it's available to him. So he's going to continue to do that. Backs away. My torps do nothing. But that's the nature of the beast there. Again, we pop out every so often, just with a free look, and just see what's going on around us, make sure nothing's slipped up on us, we're not getting blind fired or anything like that. We're going to continue to put shells on this guy. At this point, my speed's already up. I'm going to come out of smoke, and you know, even if he gets a salvo off on me, odds are he's not going to kill me. He goes down. I'm going to move in because I'm trying to get over there to try to help nobody. And keep eyes on him, hopefully. But at this point, you know, 5,000 hit points, not a whole lot of hit points. Now I've got to get on the cap to try to negate that. You can hear my torps just loaded. So now the question is, where am I going to throw him at? Odds are he's going to turn directly into us to keep guns away from him. Can't remember if I threw those. Yeah, I threw the torps into there. That way, in case he tries to just go straight into the islands there and pushes across speed without turning. But he turns into us using the island as cover. So now what I'm going to do is I could push further out, but I'm almost at my hard spot detectability, and I can't remember if he has radar or not. I knew he had hydro. So at this point, I start to just get in the cap zone, lose line of sight on him. And I think, okay, well, at least I can close with the island and hard spot him at 2K. And maybe Ash can arc some rounds over it and hit him. He has me hydro. Now that kind of commits me to pushing up to the island because there is the Cleveland. I'm spotted. There's nothing for me to do except for shoot back and start putting damage on him. I hit the brakes, but I still take one in the nose, catch fire. Now what I'm going to do is start to turn out and away. No, I turned it around. At that point, it ended. That was a pretty rough one there. But you can kind of see what I was doing on that point.